So friends, let's take on two related stories. First, it looks like Judge Aileen Cannon has relented, and she has paved the way for the Department of Justice to release Volume 1 of Jack Smith's Special Counsel report. That's the volume documenting Donald Trump's 2020 election subversion crimes. And in a second story, we just learned that the Arizona Attorney General, Kris Mays, has formally requested that the Department of Justice turn over to her and her prosecutors all of the evidence Jack Smith developed of Donald Trump and his associates' election subversion crimes. Why? Well, so the Arizona prosecutors can use that evidence in their ongoing criminal prosecution of guys like Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, and the others who tried to undermine the 2020 election results in Arizona. And this second story, friends, has an interesting twist. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, two pretty interesting stories just broke regarding two related legal developments, both of which are potentially pretty bad for Donald Trump. First, it looks like we're about to see Jack Smith's report regarding Donald Trump's 2020 election subversion crimes. And second, all of the evidence Jack Smith has of those crimes may soon be in the hands of Arizona state prosecutors. And we'll talk in a few minutes about why that could spell real trouble for Donald Trump. But let's start briefly with the new reporting. First, this from NPR. Headline, Judge Cannon paves the way for potential release of Part 1 of Special Counsel's report. And that article begins, Florida District Judge Aileen Cannon has paved the way for the Justice Department to release the first part of a special counsel's inquiry into President-elect Donald Trump, covering the investigation and charges against Trump tied to the 2020 presidential election. Cannon denied a motion by Trump's former co-defendants who sought to block the release of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on the election interference case. The DOJ has been fighting in court about whether it's allowed to publicly release a final report from Smith about his cases against Trump. Such a report is an obligatory part of the special counsel's work and may be the last chance for prosecutors to explain their decisions after they drop the federal cases against Trump after he won the election. Trump was charged with election interference in Washington, D.C., and with hoarding classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago resort and refusing to return them to the FBI. And now, friends, the somewhat related story about the ongoing criminal prosecutions out in Arizona. This from The Hill. Arizona Attorney General asks for Jack Smith's full case file. And that article reads, Arizona Attorney General Kris Mays has requested access to Special Counsel Jack Smith's case file for his 2020 election subversion prosecution of President-elect Trump, citing her case against several of his allies. In a letter to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, made public Monday, Mays indicated she previously requested access to Smith's materials, but was denied because the prosecution was ongoing. Now that the case has been dropped and the Justice Department is fighting to release Smith's final report, Mays renewed her request. Quote, today, my office has one of the only remaining cases that includes charges against national actors, Mays wrote. I have held steadfast to prosecuting the grand jury's indictment because those who tried to subvert democracy in 2020 must be held accountable. Undoubtedly, disclosing special counsel's file to my office will help ensure that those who should be held accountable are, she added. Mark Meadows, Trump's White House chief of staff, and longtime ally Rudy Giuliani are among the 16 total defendants with remaining charges in the Arizona election subversion case. Also charged are the Republicans who submitted a document to Congress falsely declaring Trump the winner of Arizona's 2020 presidential election. The case is set to go to trial in January 2026. Trump himself is not a defendant in the case, but is described as unindicted co-conspirator 1 in charging documents. The state's statute of limitations on most felony offenses, 7 years, means it's possible the former president could face charges there in the final year of his term and leave office with few mechanisms to stop them. You know, friends, with so much going on in recent weeks, indeed in the last couple of months, I have to admit, I'd kind of forgotten that Donald Trump is identified in that Arizona criminal indictment as unindicted co-conspirator number 1, together with his other criminal associates who are charged co-conspirators, indicted co-conspirators, guys like Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani. And that trial out in Arizona is scheduled to begin about a year from now, January 2026. And here's the thing. Evidence of the crimes of one co-conspirator, whether that person is indicted or not, is generally admissible against all of the other co-conspirators. It's called co-conspirator liability. So what does that mean? Well, come January 2026, when Donald Trump will be, presumably, finishing up the first year of his second term as president, America could be seeing the evidence of Donald Trump's 2020 election subversion crimes playing out in that courtroom in Arizona. And I, for one, I'm there for all of it. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.